Chef Duane. I teach at the Inland Northwest Culinary Academy at Spokane Community College. I'm also a kidney patient. I was diagnosed with a rare kidney disease a few years ago, and medication didn't really seem to help much. So my medical team, a doctor and a dietitian, recommended that I change my diet and try going plant-based. And by doing that, over a couple of years, I was actually able to get my kidney disease into remission, and which started me on this healthy cooking. And I've thoroughly enjoyed this challenge ever since. So today I want to talk about plant-based proteins. And what we're finding is that plant-based protein is actually really healthy and kind to your kidneys. And it's a great way for some people to help manage their weight as well. Proteins are actually made up of amino acids, and there's 20 amino acids that make up the proteins that we eat. Out of those 20 amino acids, there's actually only 9 that our body can't produce. So it's really important that we make sure that we always eat those 9, what we call essential amino acids. So I want to show you in the plant-based world which foods actually have those essential amino acids. Soy products like tofu actually has all of the amino acids, those essential amino acids that we need. Quinoa is also a great source. It's a grain, comes from Latin America, South America, and is a great supplement for protein. Believe it or not, chia seeds have all of those essential amino acids. They are a little light in one of them, so you need to sometimes add something to them. And hemp seeds, which are another great protein source for those essential amino acids. So another way of getting all of your protein needs is what we call complementary proteins. And you can eat those all at the same time, or just make sure that you eat them together sometime over the 24-hour period. So let me show you some of the complementary proteins. So I want you to start with the typical, what most people think of as a child. We grew up with peanut butter sandwiches. So whole wheat bread and peanut butter actually make a complete protein. Or people don't even think about sometimes peanut butter with their oatmeal. That also is another way of having a complementary protein. Beans and rice make a complementary protein. But I also want you to think kind of outside the box, because beans and rice milk together also can make a complete protein. With that same concept of the peanut butter sandwich, you can do nuts and whole grains. So here I have a bag of bulgur, which are just chipped up wheat kernels, and adding that with some nuts will give you the complete proteins that you need. So what I want to show you now is how to use those incomplete or complementary proteins together. So what we're first going to do is we're going to take some cashew nuts, put them in a pan, and I'm going to add just enough water to cover them, and then I'm going to simmer this for about 15 minutes. This is going to make them soft, and I'm going to blend this with tofu. Now, when you work with tofu, it's always recommended that you drain it. So what I'm going to do is open the package and drain off the liquid. You'll see water coming out of the package. And what I like to do is take some paper towels, set it on the plate. I'm going to place my tofu right on the paper towels. Then I'm going to wrap it with the paper towels, because you want to drain some of that excess water inside. And I put one plate on top of the tofu, and then sometimes I take a small pan or another plate and just set it on top so it kind of slowly presses out the water. Our cashews have been simmering for about 15 minutes. We've drained them. I'm now going to put them in a food processor, and you want to kind of chop these up fairly fine before you add your tofu and your seasonings. So once our cashews are chopped up fairly fine, we're going to take the lid off and add our tofu. Our tofu has been draining in paper towels, so you want to unwrap it. I also kind of like to break it up into a couple big chunks before I put it in the food processor. And then because we're going to make an Italian dish, I'm going to use some Italian flavorings. I start with some garlic powder, and then I have some thyme, onion powder, basil, and oregano. And I like to mix those up slightly a little bit before throwing them into my food processor. And what this does is it makes a really great kind of nice consistency for tofu, because some people don't like the texture of tofu. And the other thing what's wonderful about tofu is that it absorbs any flavor. So this one's going to be an Italian flavored, and we're going to put this over pasta. So once everything's in the food processor, I'm going to mix it all together. You probably want to scrape down the sides once or twice to make sure that all the tofu gets chopped up and blended in with the nuts and the herbs and spices. You'll see there's a big chunk of tofu still left in here. All right. So I have some cooked pasta, and I'm going to put that in the bottom of my baking dish. And then I'm going to take some of my tofu and cashew mixture. So I just want a layer of tofu and cashew mixture on top, because this is where all the flavor is going to be. So you could actually do this and make your own lasagna and just do several layers. And then I'm going to take some tomato sauce and pour that right over the top. And I would bake this in a 350-degree oven just until the pasta sauce starts bubbling right along the edges. So another great plant-based meal is to make a grain bowl. And it's really pretty simple. There's basically three components. You start with a grain. I add assortment of vegetables, and then I always have, for texture, I usually have some kind of nuts. So today I'm going to start with actual quinoa, and I always put that in the bottom of my bowl. And you can make this with any type of grains that you have cooked off. Then I'm going to add my fresh vegetables. So I'm adding some celery, also a nice little crunch and flavor, some chopped cucumbers, chopped tomatoes. I like a variety of flavors in my grain bowl. And then I have some also cooked off blanched broccoli that has just been put in some boiling water, brought back to a boil, taken out, and then cooled. So that's why it's got this nice bright green color. And I always keep a bag of this in my refrigerator. And then I like some crunch, so I have some roasted salt-free peanuts. And then I have a little bit of Dijon vinaigrette to drizzle over the top. And believe it or not, this is my most common dinner that I have on those busy weeknights. And it also makes a great lunch. You can pack this up ahead of time and take it to lunch for work. Today I showed you two simple, very flavorful plant-based meals. We did a grain bowl, which you can do a variety of different ways, and then we did a pasta dish that had tofu and cashews blended together and seasoned with Italian seasoning. It's a great way of transitioning to a plant-based diet. And all of our research today keeps showing us the benefits of plant-based diet. For this recipe and others, check out our website. Thank you for watching Chef Duane in the Kitchen. Stay tuned for some more exciting recipes.